Former Bethel students say they were groomed and sexually abused. How the megachurch is handling allegations against a longtime pastor. Plus, a car slammed into an apartment building in Shasta County today. We'll show you the wreckage that forced people to evacuate. And we show you how people on the Ridge are handling an icy day amid power outages and hard-packed snow.
Covering Northern California. You're watching Action News Now. Coverage you can count on.
New tonight, the Chico man convicted of attempted rape during a home invasion has been sentenced to 11 years to life in prison. Francisco Gutierrez Gomez was found guilty last month. The victim said when she got up in the middle of the night to get a snack, she was stunned to find him in her home, shirtless and wearing a ski mask. Gutierrez Gomez tried to strangle her, smother her with a pillow, and he hit her repeatedly in the head with a rock, but she fought him off. Gutierrez Gomez received the maximum term allowed by law. New at 6, the suspect in a Reading assault case was arraigned on charges that include torture, assault with a gun, and battery with serious bodily injury. The Shasta County District Attorney's Office says Michael Robinson targeted his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend in 2 attacks in December. Prosecutors say he used a metal pole to break the victim's arms the first time and then shot him in the shoulder the next day. Robinson wasn't arrested until 3 days ago, but he'll return to court to enter a plea next week. A Chico man could face life in prison if he's convicted of trying to murder a Butte County Sheriff's deputy on Valentine's Day. Christian Stevens faces 2 counts of evading police after prosecutors say he got away from police during 2 chases on February 13th. Stevens allegedly fired shots from a semi-automatic handgun during another pursuit in Magalia on the 14th, crashing then on Centerville Road, where he escaped after stealing a truck. Stevens was finally arrested the next day in Chico with help from a SWAT team. Well, 12 inches of snow can cause some unforeseen challenges if you aren't properly prepared. Action News Now reporter Emilio Del Carpio went to Paradise to see how the community is holding up after yesterday's storm.
Yesterday's thick snow in Paradise affected everyone, from school kids to town officials and even our very own Action News Now producer, Kristen Paul. She joins me right here. Kristen, you're a Paradise native and you had some trouble with the snow yesterday. What happened?
Well, I woke up and there was about 4 inches. It was so beautiful. I decided to walk over to my sister's house, which is right next door. And when we were having coffee and enjoying our breakfast, it started really dumping, maybe 4 more inches. And we decided to go check the roads to see if I could leave for work, and they hadn't been plowed, so I had to stick around.
Paul mentioned that while it does snow at least once in winter in Paradise, not everyone is prepared for when it does. I went to the Ace Hardware in town to see how residents were preparing the day after the storm and what they were still looking for.
So it's just pretty much buying stuff to get rid of the snow. Ice melt is the biggest thing now. The last time we had a big snow was 3 years ago, I think. So, you put something away you haven't been using, or somebody else borrows it, got to come down and get a new one.
Rick Carhart, Public Information Officer for CAL FIRE Butte County, says things have been quiet since Thursday afternoon when the snow stopped. The Butte County Public Works Department reports all major roads and neighborhood streets have been plowed. The day after the snow comes down, is that usually a good day of business for you guys?
Well, better than the day the snow's coming down. Power, they do pretty good up here keeping the power on.
All Paradise Unified School Districts remained closed today due to the amount of snow and continued low temperatures. In Paradise, Emilio Del Carpio, Action News Now.
Officials warn that daytime melt turns into nighttime ice, so be careful as driveways, sidewalks, and roads can become black ice by evening. Now we have a look at Sawmill Lookout. Time-lapse video today over the ridge. Gorgeous. Cloudy skies overhead, and our chief meteorologist, Howie Gordon, is tracking a bit of a break in the storms. It's really a nice Friday for us.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. A little chilly, though, a slight breeze, but I thought it was fantastic. A little nicer than what we've had with the winds whipping around, the snow and the rain, though we needed it, made it uncomfortable. Here's a look at our radar. Seeing some high clouds for the most part, but storms you do see. They'll be moving in to northern Trinity and the Coast Ranges. So for the most part out of our area, but parts of Trinity County, again, will be under a winter storm warning beginning tomorrow night. Here's our current temperatures. Right now, even in the 40s already in the valley, while the mountains are seeing temperatures dropping into the 20s. And if you're up there about 7,000 feet or so, very, very chilly. Here's a look at our winds again on the lighter side. When those winds are whipping around, it made it tough not to have a jacket on, which I don't wear one that often because, again, Chicago, Alaska, toughened me up a little bit. But here's what we're looking at. A cold weather advisory for the foothills and on up, very chilly, over 7,000 feet. And again, for the northern part of the Trinity County, we have that winter storm warning for tomorrow night. But again, more storms will head our way. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, Haley.
All right. Thanks, Howie. The Bethel Church in Reading has placed longtime pastor Ben Armstrong on administrative leave after allegations that he sexually abused a former student back in 2009. That former student, Sarah, said last week on a podcast that when she was 23, Armstrong abused her on 2 occasions. She says she reported it to church leaders, but mainly blamed herself at the time. In a 2018 interview with Bethel leadership, Armstrong admitted to a, quote, moral failure in 2009, saying he had an affair with an intern that resulted in his temporary removal from ministry and a public confession. Right after the recent podcast came out, though, Bethel said that the accusations were being looked at with, quote, fresh eyes. The church also said it's having a third party investigate Sarah's claims. Bethel also launched a new process called Safe Church to facilitate reporting of alleged abuse. We reached out to Armstrong for comment on this, but have not heard back. We'll keep working on that. A few weeks ago, though, Bethel leadership publicly apologized for not taking action after allegations of sexual misconduct reemerged against Sean Bowles, who Bethel platformed until 2019. New tonight, we have an update on water quality tests at Englebright Lake 1 week after the penstock pipe failure at the new Colgate powerhouse in Yuba County. Yuba Water says initial independent tests are encouraging. Samples taken downstream and at Englebright Lake showed no detection of petroleum hydrocarbons, PCBs, or other industrial chemicals. Officials say they're taking daily water sampling and that they're developing a plan for long-term monitoring. Meanwhile, Yuba County's Office of Emergency Services issued a disaster declaration, allowing the county to seek state and federal aid if needed. You can find the latest updates on the Yuba Water Agency website, which we've created a link to on our website under news links. As winter weather continues to impact our area, yesterday's rare snowfall was just one part of it. It's really cold out there, and a local nonprofit is working to make sure no one is left out in the cold. Action News Now reporter Timea Horvath shows us how Safe Space is stepping up.
Due to the harsh winter weather that has hit Chico, nonprofit Safe Space has decided to extend its shelter hours until noon every day. Behind me is First Christian Church, one of the several churches in town that Safe Space partners with to provide a warm place to sleep for the homeless during the cold winter months. But even with the extended hours, the need is overwhelming.
It is completely full. We've been turning people, we've been exceeding our capacity every night this winter, turning away anywhere from 10 to 25 people on some of the nights. That is heartbreaking.
Safe Space is the only weather-dependent sheltering agency in Chico, meaning when temperatures drop, they're often the last line of defense. For staff and volunteers, the work is difficult, but deeply meaningful.
When someone comes to you hungry and you give them food and they look you in the eye and say, thank you for making this nutritious food for me, that feeds my soul.
Black Rose monitors residents at the shelter and says beyond the hardships are moments of connection that remind everyone of their shared humanity.
Sometimes if we can just really take a moment and just let them laugh with you, they do something that is funny, and it's so funny that you laugh and you got to touch them. Oh my God! And those experiences enlightens me that we all need somebody.
Rose says the shelter isn't just about survival, it's about progress.
For me, the shelter, I've provided success story. It might not happen as fast as how we would want it, but I've seen success stories since I've been working here.
Safe Space is now asking the community to donate individually packaged prepared food items such as cup of noodles, frozen burritos, and hot chocolate packets. Donations can be dropped off at their Esplanade office Tuesdays and Thursdays between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. or at the First Christian Church between 6 and 8 p.m. during weekdays. In Chico, Tamea Horvath, Action News Now.
Safe Space said its shelters will be open until February 28th. Guests can come to the Safe Space office on 1909 Esplanade between 5:30 and 6:30 each evening and receive a referral, meet with staff, and get taken to a shelter. Well, today, Shasta County supervisors decided to take no action on a pending lawsuit over voter ID. Supervisor Matt Plummer told me that a Jane Doe is suing to block a ballot initiative from going on the June 2nd election, which will ask Shasta voters to choose whether to implement new local voting rules regarding voter ID requirements and absentee voting. The county was named in the lawsuit, and today, supervisors considered whether to defend the initiative, join Jane Doe, or do nothing. And they chose option C, do nothing, in a 4-1 vote with Kevin Cry dissenting. Plummer said, in part, I appreciate citizens being involved in wanting to change how government happens and the work that went into collecting signatures for the petition, but the effort to change state law by changing county law is not the way that this can work. The so-called voter ID, hand-counted ballots, and absentee voting limits initiative at issue would create some rules that violate state law. New information on the truck that crashed into an apartment building this morning on Shasta Dam Boulevard in the city of Shasta Lake. The Shasta County Sheriff's Department now says it's a DUI investigation. 46-year-old Joshua Benson of Shasta Lake was unresponsive in the driver's seat when emergency crews arrived after crashing through a vacant business space and hitting an attached apartment complex. The complex had to be evacuated because of damage to utilities.
At first we thought the big old boom was the quad, and then we looked over and seen everyone running out the building calling for help, and soon we walked over seeing a big old truck and a trailer straight through the window.
I looked down the road and I seen people running out. It's a really bad accident. We don't see a lot of stuff out here in CV like that.
The driver went to the hospital for treatment of injuries. Sheriff's officials say he was cited for DUI and additional charges could still be filed. The snow did not slow rescuers in Butte County. We'll show you how the local rescue volunteers really stepped up. But first, in new tonight, the Honeybee Discovery Center's buzzing. We'll show you the new Bee Mobile.